here with his first YouTube video ever. And I know my channel is MMA based, but with the long MMA break and how much I enjoy watching NFL football as well, I thought I'd make a little bracket for you guys. So, first we're going to go to the Houston Texans versus Pittsburgh game. As you guys see, I already got clicked the Texans. Not going to lie, I was going to wait and at least explain my reasoning before I made the pick. But, yep, I'm taking the Houston Texans over the Pittsburgh Steelers. I believe that Mike Tomlin isn't the best coach, and he's a little bit overrated. And every single time he does get to the playoffs, he loses in the first round. And this Houston team has been absolutely on fire. CJ Stroud has been playing a lot better recently. This defense, I believe, in my opinion, is the best defense in all the playoffs. And Aaron Rodgers, as I do think also that he is the best quarterback that Pittsburgh has had in a long time, I still don't believe he's at the level to be playing to beat a team like Houston. And also, this Houston team, their defense is just going to get the pass rush going on Aaron Rodgers, so he's going to have to struggle to get the ball out. They're going to struggle to move the ball. I think this is going to be a very lower scoring game, but I believe Houston's going to just have the better defense. I mean, Pittsburgh defense can be a little bit shaky at times. Hasn't been as consistent as it usually is compared to Houston, which they have two elite edge rushers in Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter. So I just don't see a world where Pittsburgh wins. I know the spread, I mean, the odds are a little bit close. Not like one of the closest games of the playoffs, but closer than some of the games. But I don't agree. I believe this should be one of the largest spreads of the week. So I got Houston moving on. Next game, we got Buffalo versus Jacksonville. And this is a tough one for me to pick. It's a very close game. I'm looking forward to watching it. But, I mean, this Jacksonville team, it's going to be hard to pick against them. They've been playing at an unbelievable level. They're on fire. They're probably the hottest team in the NFL right now. But it's also going to be tough to pick against Josh Allen, which is the best quarterback in this playoffs. As much as I think he's a little bit overrated, and I know some of y'all might think that's a hot take. I know it's a hot take. I think he's a little bit overrated. But it's going to be tough to pick against him in the first round of the playoffs, especially against a team that isn't played with Patrick Mahomes. So it's a tough pick for me. But Jacksonville, man, they've been really hot. And as much as Josh Allen is one of the best quarterbacks and he can carry his team, I believe this Buffalo team is one of the worst Buffalo teams we've seen. I've seen better Buffalo teams lose. I just really am not high on their defense. Their run defense has looked horrible. And Jacksonville's got two solid little running backs that they got. And they can run, and I believe they'll be able to move the ball onto Buffalo Bills offense. I wouldn't be shocked if Buffalo wins, but I personally am going to be taking Jacksonville. I think Jacksonville's just too on fire. They're too hot right now to be ignored. Although I can believe Josh Allen can just carry them to a win here. But I got to go Jacksonville. I got to go Jacksonville because their team is a lot more well-rounded. And the Buffalo team, I mean, yeah, they got James Cook, which is a good run. But Jacksonville's got one of the best run defenses in the league. And I just believe they're more a complete team. And I got to trust them here against the Buffalo Bills because they're just a better team, in my opinion. All right, next game. We got New England versus the Chargers. I believe this game is going to be a little bit closer than people expect. A lot of people are high on Drake May, which I'm not saying I'm not high on him, but he also has not had the playoff experience yet. And that's a big thing. The playoff experience, it's very important going in here. It helps. It's a big advantage if you've made it here before. And New England hasn't really made it in a while ever since Tom Brady left. They've been down in the trash. They haven't been as good as usual, but now they're back. Drake May is their new guy, and I think he is good. The Chargers, they're a little bit banged up. Their offensive line is really taking a hit with their two tackles out. And I just don't think this LA Chargers offense has taken a little bit of a hit. It has been as consistent. The passing game, there's not a real clear passing, and it's kind of tough. And the run game hasn't been as strong with the offensive line. The Chargers defense is pretty solid. They can defend the pass very well, which is what New England's probably the best at. And New England defense is pretty solid. It's probably one of the better defenses in the playoffs. And as much as I strive with the experience, I believe Drake May will be good enough to get a win against the Los Angeles Chargers, but I would not be shocked if the 7 beats a 2 here and get a little bit of a big upset. Don't I wouldn't be completely shocked. I'm not gonna lie. I'd be more shocked than Pittsburgh beating Houston by a mile. But I gotta trust Drake May. He's been playing at an MVP level. I gotta trust him to at least get a win against the Los Angeles Chargers. And yeah, they're gonna move on to play Jacksonville. Well, let's go to the NFC side. Got the Rams versus Carolina. To be honest, I don't think a single person is picking Carolina. I mean, even though they do have the home field advantage and they do have the head-to-head win over the Rams, I don't think that it's going to repeat. I mean, this LA team is just, they got Matthew Stafford playing at MVP level. They got Puka Nacua, who's been just absolutely amazing for them. They've got Kyron Williams and Blake Corum, which Blake Corum's been really coming on as of late, and they've really been able to use them both, which is just an advantage for them, keeping their legs fresh and not having to rely on one person. You know, they can use two backs. And this Carolina team, I mean, at the end of the day, they're 8-9. I mean, they're in the worst division. They're definitely the worst team in this playoffs. I mean, I've always liked the underdog, so I'm going to be rooting for Carolina here. But I can't, there's no way I'm picking against LA. The LA Rams, I believe, are going to move on. I just think their defense, they're honestly could be the most complete team in all the playoffs, which is crazy because they are the 5 seed. Next, we got Philadelphia versus San Francisco, which, no, it's kind of tough, but San Francisco, which Brock Purdy has been playing really well, and Christian McCaffrey's obviously been great this year. Their defense hasn't been too bad, but Philly, they have the experience. I mean, San Francisco, Brock Purdy's made it here before. He's made the Super Bowl, so I wouldn't say he's inexperienced. But Philly is just, I don't think they're going to lose in the first round, although I do think they're not a little overrated. But I don't think they're going to lose, especially considering San Francisco's going to have no Fred Warner, no Nick Bosa, no Ricky Pearsall. They're just really banged up right now. And the Philadelphia Eagles are also going to be getting Jalen Carter back, Lane Johnson, and Dallas Goedert, which, to be honest, I was kind of high on the San Francisco 49ers. And if they did have Fred Warner and Nick Bosa and all their people that are more healthy, and also there's potentially Trent Williams, their best offensive lineman, might not be playing, which kind of sucks. I feel bad because I honestly want San Francisco to win. I believe Brock Purdy, I always want him to succeed because of how low he was picked and how much of an underdog story he has, but I am going to have to go with the Philadelphia Eagles here, even though I think if they were fully healthy, the San Francisco 49ers, I would probably be picking them, but they're just too banged up to be picking against the former Super Bowl champions. Last wildcard game, we got Chicago versus Green Bay. I personally think this is going to be the closest game in all of the wildcard round. Chicago, they've been really hot. They've been winning a lot of games, even though they have had a little bit of a losing streak to end off this season. Caleb Williams has been playing really well. I really like how he's evolved in this offense. And their running game has been really great with DeAndre Swift starting to play more consistently, and that addition of Kyle Monangai is really giving them a nice 1-2 punch that they can use. And also, I like how much they've been utilizing their rookies. Ben Johnson and this offense, they've been really getting the rookies incorporated. A lot of people were starting to say that Luther Burden and Colson Loveland were in bust at the start, but now that they're getting really fit in and settled in this offense, they're starting to show that there can be absolute game changers. And the Chicago defense, although I would say it's not terrible, it's definitely one of the weaker defenses in the playoffs, and I believe that defense is very important. I think defense wins championships. It's obviously a very famous saying, but I honestly believe that defense is really important in the playoffs and the experience. With Chicago, they don't really have the experience. They haven't been here. Considered a Green Bay, which has been here many times. Jordan Love has experienced the playoffs, even though he hasn't really made it too far. He's been in situations like this. Oh, man, this is a tough one for me. The Green Bay's defense is still pretty solid, but the no Micah Parsons is really going to be hurting them here. It's going to suck. It's not going to be easy for them to get after Caleb Williams. And if you let Caleb Williams have time, he can really just make your defense pay. And Green Bay, Josh Jacobs, it's hasn't looked 100%. He's looked very, held back by his injury for the past few weeks. And Jordan Love, he's coming back first week. We don't know what to expect if he's going to be 100%. And I mean, as much as I want to pick Green Bay in the little bit of an upset, I can't pick them with how injured they are. But if Micah Parsons was playing, I would probably be picking Green Bay in an upset here. But I'm going to go with the Chicago Bears. Now, divisional round. First, we're going to go to Houston versus Denver. Denver, they got the home field advantage. They have a very tough stadium playing considering the elevation. It's going to be tough for the Texans to go in there. And Denver, they've been, obviously, they're the one seed. They've won a ton of games. They're winning games, but they have been winning by a very close margin. They haven't really looked too impressive, to be honest. I mean, Bo Nix, he's been playing at an all right. He's been pretty solid, but he's definitely one of the weaker quarterbacks in the playoffs. R.J. Harvey, their rookie running back, is starting to come along and look solid. Their wide receivers are pretty lackluster, but they're making it work. I mean, if you look at their offense, it doesn't look really that good. I mean, their defense is obviously very great, but also their defense has not been playing as good as they have as of late. They've been starting to cool off. It hasn't looked as great coming down. While Houston's defense, on the other hand, has been playing amazing. C.J. Stroud has really started to find his groove. They've been having a nice, solid run game that's very underrated with their rookie running back, Woody Marks. And this Houston team, this may be a hot take, but I think they're really slept on in this playoffs. They've been really hot, and I think they can make it very far here. And I'm actually going to pick them to upset the Denver Broncos and make it to the AFC Championship. I just think this defense is too good, and defense wins championships, and I just think it's the best defense, and it can just single-handedly win them games, not forcing too much pressure on C.J. Stroud to play out of his mind. And I think if C.J. Stroud just plays at an all-right level and doesn't turn the ball over, they can definitely beat Denver, and that's who I'm picking. Jacksonville versus New England. No, this is a tough one. New England, they have been winning a ton of games. I don't know if I'm fully sold on the New England hype yet. I mean, Drake May has been playing at an MVP level, and he has looked good, but I believe the matchup against the Chargers is a lot easier than the matchup against the Jaguars. This Jaguars defense has looked very solid, and Trevor Lawrence has been playing at an unbelievable level. But I don't know if I'm fully sold on the Jaguars either, man. It just doesn't seem like they should really be this good. I mean, I'm not saying they're not. They've been playing really well. But I just don't know if I can pick them against New England here. Mike Vrabel going to have the New England Patriots ready for this game. And I think Jacksonville is going to have a good future ahead of them. Same with New England. I think they're both going to be winning their divisions for a while. They got new coaches that have been really well for them. They got both have young quarterbacks that have been really starting to find their groove in their offenses. I'm going to slightly lean New England here. I'm going to trust Drake May to keep playing well. But this is a close one for me also. Could really go either way. Now, LA Rams versus the Seattle Seahawks. This is going to be a hell of a game. I think whoever wins this game is honestly going to be one of the favorites to win the Super Bowl. If whoever's wins this is going to be heavily favored to win the Super Bowl, and it's for good reason. They're both very talented rosters. Seattle Seahawks, they have a very nice run game with Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet. They've been putting up a lot of yards on the ground, and I feel like it's a little bit underappreciated because they have one of the best run games in the NFL, but no one really notices because they don't really have an alpha running back who's just racking up a ton of stats. But they really split their work evenly, and it's been really well. Sam Darnold, I mean, there is some question marks because of how he played in the playoffs for the Minnesota Vikings last year. But I believe that wasn't all on Sam Darnold, and I think it's going to have a better chance to succeed on the Seattle Seahawks in the playoffs because he has an alpha wide receiver one. I mean, he did have an alpha wide receiver one on the Minnesota Vikings, but I believe the Seattle Seahawks offensive line is a lot better, and it can help him out a little bit. But Sam Darnold needs to make sure he's getting the ball out fast. He can't be holding on to it, taking too many sacks, because this LA Rams pass rush is very solid. It's a very well-rounded unit, their defense as a whole, and Sam Darnold can struggle holding on to the ball too long at times, and that's also a reason why it takes sacks. It can't be all blamed on the O-line. But Sam Darnold, I don't believe the people saying that he's just gonna crumble in the playoffs. I think he's gonna play well, and he's got JSN to throw to, the leading receiver. But also the Rams, they got Puka Nacua to throw through. These are the two best receivers right now, and Matthew Stafford has been playing very well. Same as Sam Darnold. I mean, this is a very tough game for me to pick. I'm going to lean to the Seattle Seahawks. I think they're going to get the job done. Their run game, they have just a very well-rounded run game and a pass game, and their defense been playing very well with some nice pass rush, and they also got some young people that have been really shaping in to be well in the defense, like Nick Emenwari. Like, I just think that Seattle's going to edge it out. I think this is going to be a very close game, just like their last game. And I think it's going to be a very entertaining one to watch. And I honestly think this could go either way. I would not hate you or think it's crazy for you to be picking LA, but I'm just going to lean Seattle here. Now, Philly versus Chicago. Chicago will be having the home field advantage, and I think that's going to help them here. But Chicago's been a little bit I've not been fully sold on them. I don't know if they're really what they're hyped up to be. And obviously they did beat Philly in kind of a little bit of dominant fashion. It wasn't really that dominating on the scoreboard, but they kind of ran all over them. They made their run defense look very lackluster. It looked terrible when Kyle Monangai and DeAndre Swift just ran all over them in the regular season, which they do have that head-to-head advantage, but I think Philly is going to be more prepared here. They got Jalen Carter back, who's one of their best run stoppers. They're going to have Lane Johnson back, which is going to be great for their offensive line and to help out the offense. Philly's offense has been a little bit questionable. They haven't been playing very consistently, but I just don't think I'm fully sold on Chicago making it a deep run to the NFC Championship. I do think they have a good future with Ben Johnson as their head coach and Caleb Williams, but I don't know. I think the lights are going to be a little too bright for Caleb Williams here, and I think the Philadelphia Eagles are going to advance to the NFC Championship. Now, Houston versus New England in the AFC Championship. I think this is a very bad matchup for the New England Patriots. I mean, this Houston Texans defense is, like I said, I believe it's the best in the playoffs. And Drake May, although he has been playing great, he has not been in these playoffs before. And it's going to be a different world. This is not regular season. This is a tough defense. And playoffs are completely different than the regular season. And I feel like they haven't been real consistent with their run game as a whole. It can be a little bit shaky at times, even though I think they got the name value that have good names. Like Travion Henderson can really be a home run hitter at times. He can make big plays and help the New England offense, but this run offense has been very inconsistent, and I think they're going to need to be very consistent as a whole, because if they're going to be relying on Drake May to just play lights out and throw like 4 touchdowns on this defense and like 400 yards, I don't know how much I can trust Drake May to really just play at an unbelievable level at this, when the lights are this bright and in this moment against a very tough defense. They are going to have the home field advantage, which is going to be helpful. But man, I don't know how many people are on the Texans like me, but I'm just very high on the Houston Texans this season. I believe they can make a very good run. And as crazy as it seems to say for the Houston Texans, as they've never really been too great as a franchise, I believe they're going to beat the New England Patriots and they're going to move on to the Super Bowl, which is a very upset and a very hard run. It's not going to be easy for them, but I think they can do it with how good their defense is. As long as C.J. Stroud can keep the ball safe and not turn the ball over, I think it can help them out to be able to beat these teams like Denver Broncos and New England Patriots, or Jacksonville. If Jacksonville beats Patriots, I think their defense is going to really be nice here. So, yeah, I'm going to pick Houston to go to the Super Bowl. And NFC Championship, Philadelphia versus Seattle. Philadelphia's been here last year. They made it and won the Super Bowl. Seattle, they haven't been to the playoffs this far in a little bit. And Philly, obviously, their defense has been really solid so far. Their offense has been a little bit questionable, but I think they're serviceable and they can get the job done at places. But the Seattle Seahawks team is just so well rounded. Their run game, they're got an alpha wide receiver one in JSN. They got the special teams. I think Rashid Shaheed is going to be a very underrated piece in this offense during the playoffs. I think he can help them get punt return touchdowns and really break away and change the games if they're struggling a little bit. He's just got the speed and the ability to just really just change momentum of game or just really put a game on ice with the special teams. The way he can return, he's very fast, and he can just single-handedly change a game. Well, the Philly doesn't really have that showstopper in them, except maybe like a deep A.J. Brown play. But Philly, they obviously have the experience here. They're going to have a chance to make it back to the Super Bowl. But I just don't know if I can trust this Philadelphia offense to make it all the way to the Super Bowl. They've been very inconsistent as a whole ever since they got their new offensive coordinator. And I don't think I could trust this offense against the Seattle Seahawks defense. So I'm going to take the Seattle Seahawks advance to the Super Bowl. Super Bowl matchup, Seattle Seahawks versus the Houston Texans. This is going to be, if it obviously happens, I believe this is going to be an amazing Super Bowl and that the fans are going to be very satisfied with the game here. Going to be played in San Francisco, I believe. So I'd say not really home field advantage at all for either of them, but I mean they're about the same distance. Maybe Seattle Seahawks can have a little bit more fans at the game. This Texans defense, we already know, I believe is the greatest in the playoffs and can really just take over. But the Seattle Seahawks run game, their offense as a whole has been very great, and they've really been good in the clutch moments this year. When they need Sam Darnold to play well, he has been surprisingly clutch, and he has been able to win them big games. So I feel like the narrative of Sam Darnold not being able to win games is kind of gone now, even though I wouldn't say he's definitely the best quarterback in the playoffs. I think he is getting a little bit too much hate for what happened in the playoffs last year. And I think that the Seattle Seahawks are just a little bit better than Houston everywhere, especially the offense. Maybe not their defense, but the Seattle Seahawks defense is also very good. And it can slow C.J. Stroud down. It could slow the Texans offense down. I think this is going to be a very low-scoring game, kind of reminiscent of the Patriots and the Rams back in 2018 or whenever that was. But I'm going to pick the Seattle Seahawks to win the Super Bowl. I just think that they're way too well-rounded and they have the best chance to go all the way here. But, yep, that's my NFL bracket. Obviously, like I said, this is going to be an MMA account, MMA channel with MMA content. But I just felt like I had to make my NFL bracket, because I watch NFL. I'm very invested, so I feel like I had to because this is a trending topic, and then the MMA break is still in. We still don't have another fight for another couple weeks, so I thought this was going to be a good video to make as my first video, and I wanted to get back. I'll probably maybe a week before UFC 324, I'll probably make my predictions. And the next video, maybe a video sprinkled in between. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video as my first, and I'll see you in the next one.